Good afternoon and welcome to the Alex Urbina radio show. We're broadcasting live from Newhall, California, right here in your hometown station, KHTS. I'm in studio with Ellen Tunick and Andrew Delgado, and today we are talking about angry teens. If you have a teenager that just seems to all of a sudden be angry or irritated or annoyed all the time, and you kind of wonder, why? Why are they like that? I give them everything. And sometimes I think as parents, when we love our kids so much, we want to give them everything we can or give them things that we never had just to kind of help them in their life and to acknowledge them or celebrate them and just really be there for them. And then we kind of wonder, why are they so angry? Why are they so upset about whatever's bothering them? Why do you think we get confused when our teenagers get really angry?
Because we take it personally. I'm involved with a teenager now, and for me, it's like I can't understand. It's like, you should be grateful, you should be happy, you should be, involved, and it isn't that way. And so I actually had to start to look inside and go, am I not creating that environment and that space for him that he needs?
Well, I love that you said that you shared that you operate from the should be.
Mm-hmm.
Should be is a disease that we have as parents that actually is toxic for us. Because once you operate from you should be thankful, you should be grateful, you should once should be comes out of your mouth, you're doomed for any kind of disappointment in your kids. So I would like to start there.
Okay.
What if you just decided at a certain point, right, that should be doesn't exist? Because if you look through the glasses called my son or daughter should be a specific way, then any other way they show up is not good enough for you.
And he feels that way.
Yeah, exactly. So if your son or daughter looking through these two lenses on my glasses and they're supposed to or should be showing up in a specific way, any other way they show up is not good enough for me, or the message comes back to me as though they're ungrateful, something's wrong with them, they need a therapist, I'm not a good enough dad, I'm not a good mom, I haven't done my job, right? You can sit down and go down the whole road of making up these beliefs that aren't necessarily real about your son or daughter because of the way that they're showing up that's different than the way that you want them to be in this perspective called you should be a certain way.
If you have this, then you should be that.
Right. Now, let's take should be out.
Okay.
And let's insert I would love for my son to be grateful. I would love for my daughter to appreciate things. I would love. So now coming from I would love for them to be like that, then I'm not let down because they're not.
And there's a frustration level somewhere in there that needs to be dealt with.
It's only frustrated because you operate from they should be a certain way. And when they're not that way, I, as the dad or the mom, go into a psychological resistance. Can't speak today. I go into the psychological resistance to them being that way.
Being them.
Being angry. Well, in the moment, they're just being angry.
Right.
It's not necessarily who they are. It's just an emotion that they're feeling. A lot of times as parents, when we see our kids angry, we go, man, you're an angry guy. And it's not necessarily true. Your son's not an
Now you've labeled him.
Yeah, now you've labeled him and put him in a box. So you're always going to see him as this angry guy. You're always going to see him as this hateful kid. You're always going to see him as this your ungrateful daughter. Don't label your kids. Just realize that they're going through something specific and they're experiencing some kind of emotional feelings and they're just feeling it. But it's a temporary feeling, and our feelings are designed to run their course.
I think that in itself, I personally get very stuck with running its course. I always think it's staying forever.
Yeah, so you go to fear of, oh my God, what if he's
Yeah.
angry like this forever and
Yeah.
I don't do something about it, and
Right.
he becomes a 30-year-old man or 50-year-old man, he's still bitter and angry. So then the fear comes in
Right.
and has you go into resisting him or her being angry.
Yeah. I just want it to go away.
Yes. Instead of rubbing your hands, go like this. Put your hands together. We're going to rub them and go, yes, my son is angry.
Yes. My son is angry.
And it's an opportunity for me to teach him how to manage his anger. I don't see
Teachable moment.
I don't see a smile on your face. You went to, oh my God, that's my job.
You know, that's exactly where I went, like, oh, God, this falls on me.
Your job as a parent is to teach your kids, not think that you taught them when they were 4 years old how to manage their anger and then realize when they're 15 or 16, oh my God, what's wrong with you? I thought I taught you how to manage your emotions. Obviously, you haven't,
Right.
based on results. This is where it stings sometimes as parents.
Yeah.
To have to really look at
The
ourselves.
reflection back.
Yeah, look at ourselves and go, man, what haven't I taught? I haven't taught my son how to
What
take
did I not model?
I haven't taught him how to take the trash out yet.
Yeah.
I haven't taught him how to clean his room and be organized or take a shower or
I
put
haven't
deodorant
taught him
on.
that if you see something that needs to get done,
That's
do
right.
it.
That's right. Yeah. And we live in the illusion that, but Alex, they're supposed to know that.
Yes.
Right? They should be. And now you go back to the should be glasses. No, they shouldn't be anything unless you've taught them and have taught them well. Because once you teach them in a way that they actually learn it, then they flip a switch and now it becomes a part of their
who they are.
Their functioning now. Now it's part of their wiring. So now it opens up the possibility as parents that we're not teaching our kids specific life lessons. We're not teaching them certain ways to live our life that it resonates with them, and so that they own it as, this is just who I'm going to be now. This is how I'm going to live my life. Every time I see someone that needs help, I'm going to offer help. Every time I see someone that's down and out, I'm going to be compassionate and try to figure out, you know what I mean? You got to teach them morals, values, and principles such that it actually becomes something that they decide to live their life like that.
So what if you think you have?
You haven't, based on results. Based on results. I'm not saying
Okay.
I'm in here going that I'm making all these judgments about
Right.
your kids based on what you're telling me. Because a lot of times I'll get clients that'll go, Alex, I don't get it. I've taught them. And I have put a smile on my face because I'm very compassionate for parents when it comes to, you know, loving your kids and wanting them to win. But I got to be honest, sometimes we live in the illusion that we're doing something, and based on results, our results show us you're not.
Yeah.
And it's a hard pill to swallow. And it's like,
Gulp.
but he had it. He was being open and loving to me, and he was a nice kid, and he was. So what happened? How did he become so angry all of a sudden? How does she now all of a sudden have an attitude problem, and she's so moody all the time? These are the things that I deal with when I'm coaching parents. So I wanted to have a discussion about that. Is that good for
Yeah,
you?
it's very good for me.
Okay, good. All right, let's first start off with anger is not a bad thing. Anger is just anger. It's a natural emotion that happens when there's something that that we have decided that we don't like, that we're upset about, and so it causes some anger. However, as a parent, quite often unconsciously we just it's an automatic response, and we put a judgment on it, and we go, that's bad. Anger is bad.
And as soon as it comes out, it evokes this emotion in me. Oh God, here we go again.
Yeah, that's called fear.
Yeah.
So when your son or daughter is angry, if you're unconscious, your fear comes up.
Yes.
If you're conscious, you're aware that your fear is coming up. And then when you're aware from a conscious state, now you can make some choices. When you're unconscious, the anger comes up. You can't see that your fear comes up, and there's no conscious.
And you just want it to stop.
Yeah. So what you do is you just react. You're not choosing anything specific. You're just reacting out of your fear, and then you're causing, now they're unconscious, you're unconscious, and you're both reacting to each other, and you're wondering why you just got into an argument or why they stormed off and slammed their door, because one of you has to be consciously aware, being proactive in your relationship. If you're not, You're just both reactive. All right. So number one, anger is not bad. It's just anger. After it's just anger, then you get to decide what's good, bad, right, or wrong, should or shouldn't. That means you now have a choice to decide. And so earlier I said, put your hands together, rub your hands, and go, yes, he's angry. Now, most parents see it as anger as a bad thing, so they want to jump in and fix it. They want to resist it. They want to try to give advice about it. They want to jump all over it.
Want to just handle it.
Yeah, just get in there and
Yeah.
manhandle the anger to let the kid know, like, no, you can't be angry.
You need to stop this
Right,
behavior.
right. However, that's a perspective. But if you choose a perspective to put your hands together, rub them, and go, yes, he's angry. Now I see it as a teachable moment. And if it's a teachable moment for me as a dad to sit down with my son or daughter and teach them how to manage that anger, then I'm coming from a totally different place. I'm not coming from fear
Or judgment.
I'm more neutral in this opportunity for me now to step in and do my job as a father, which is to teach and to model. It's a whole different psychology of parenting. It's called the conscious parent. And now as a conscious parent, you're inspiring your kids. You're not showing up as though you're trying to control them or tell them what to do. You're showing up in a different way. It's a different style of parenting. So number one, anger's not bad. It's just anger. The next thing is what you said earlier, which is what I love. Don't take it personal. It's not about you. The anger they're having is really about something going on within them, even though they might be angry towards something you did or something you said. It's not about you personally. Most people's anger is a dysfunction of their own demise. It's their own insecurity, their own fear coming up. It's their own shortcomings. But most of us parents don't see it like that.
And who's the best person to blast? Someone who's not going anywhere, right?
The person is going to keep showing up in my face all the time.
That's right.
That's when I'm going to throw daggers
Absolutely.
at. And so your kids are going to project the anger towards you, but it's not about you. It's just being. It's like, you ever go to the zoo and like visit the monkeys?
Oh yeah.
And when they get a little rambunctious, they want to throw stuff at you.
Right.
What do they throw?
Bananas.
Or their feces.
Oh, okay. Poop.
Yeah. So imagine them throwing
monkey
that
poop.
Yeah. So they're throwing the monkey poop at you, and you just get to
Dodge it.
You get to dodge it, duck and dodge. Most of us parents don't duck and dodge. Now it causes some anger in us.
And now
then
you're
we
both
now
angry.
unconsciously, reactively go, why are you, now I'm angry at you because you started projecting your anger towards me. And before you know it, we're both stuck in this unconscious dialogue and communication in our relationship that doesn't go anywhere other than in dark places.
So when that happens, when I see the anger, it starts a hum in me.
Right. The hum is the fear, right?
And then I attach my own feeling to the hum.
You're right. Right. Now, but if you don't see it as a bad thing and you see it as just anger and you remember that we're human and we're emotional creatures, so we're supposed to be feeling our feelings. And so when your son or daughter is angry, choose a perspective that gets excited for them because they're learning how to feel their feelings. And the reason why I say that is because 98% of the kids that I interact with, and I interact with millions of kids all across the world from all walks of life, majority of them are slowly starting to numb out their feelings. They're not feeling their feelings anymore. They've decided when they were 4 that feeling bad
was not okay
anymore. So then what they do is they numb. And then they numb. And then when they're 7, they're numbing. When they're 9, they're numbing. That's how we get these emotionless teenagers walking around the world. That doesn't mean that they're not happy or excited or doing what they love.
They're just unfeeling.
But when it comes to them sharing their emotions, it's hard for them to articulate what they're feeling because they started shutting down a long time ago.
Or constantly being told That's not right.
Yeah, that's a whole other show about all the social conditioning and the family conditioning
Right.
and the culture conditioning to where it's implied that it's not okay to feel your feelings. Like when I was a kid, in Hispanic culture was stop crying, be a man, right?
Right.
You have to be macho, you got to be tough. Or a lot of people, we decide I got to be strong.
Yeah.
A lot of single moms tell themselves I got to be strong for my kids. So what she does is she shuts her emotions down. Now realizing that your emotions are designed, Mom, for you to heal your kids and to teach them what it's like to feel their feelings in a
See what it
natural,
looks
healthy
like,
way.
see what it feels
Yes.
like, and be okay with it.
But Mom, if you shut your emotions down because you decided that strong means not feel your feelings and not feel sad or pain or any of that, you're basically modeling for your kids to be robotic.
Yeah. I walked that walk 35
And then
years
you're
ago.
gonna be wondering why at 15 or 16 they're smoking weed or they're using drugs or they're drinking because they have to feel something because feeling numb doesn't feel good anymore.
Or the intensity of their feeling is too much and they don't know how to get it out, so they are masking everything.
That's right. So anger's not bad. It's just anger. Don't take things personal because their anger's not about you, even though it's being projected towards you. And then the next one is don't react or resist the anger. You have to learn how to embrace it and dance with it. And
That's very challenging.
yeah, because most of us haven't. No one has explained to us that it's possible to be able to embrace and dance with someone else's emotions that's being projected towards you.
Right.
No one has taught us or even talked about that as a possibility. So by default, we're just used to reacting to it, defending, or jumping all over it with our own anger and combating it. So now both of us are like these warriors, just banging our swords and our shields against each other.
So what I'm also hearing is, as it relates directly to me, is up to this point, anger makes me uncomfortable. I need to show up where, like you say, anger is just anger, and there's no reason to be uncomfortable.
Let me ask you a question. Do you ever remember any of the kids in your family, whether they're your own kids or grandkids? They're all your kids, they're all your babies,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So they're 4 or 5 years old, and he or she's angry, like, "Ugh," and they're like, and they get on the floor and they're throwing a temper tantrum. Does that make you feel uncomfortable?
No.
Why?
That's a great question. Why does that not make? Because they're supposed to be doing that. I mean,
Because you just said anger makes me feel uncomfortable, but I just gave you a scenario of a little kid.
and it doesn't.
Huh?
I don't get that.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Here you just said anger makes me feel uncomfortable. So maybe it's not the anger that's making you feel uncomfortable. Maybe it's that you haven't, in your mind, given yourself permission to not have to fix
it.
the problem or be the solution.
Or make it okay for that person who's angry.
Exactly. So that tells me that you have this need to fix people's problems, make
Yes.
it okay again.
Yes.
And so that's what makes you uncomfortable.
Yes.
Of not knowing how you're going to do it or if you even can.
Yeah. How can I achieve this?
And I'm trying to tell you right now, it's not your job.
It's not. Not
It's
my
not your job to fix, to do any of that. So that should free you up to not have that anxiety when someone's angry. And it frees you up to be able to be a compassionate, loving space for them. And then later we'll talk about for them to do what.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to help those of you that are listening that are going, okay, that's making sense to me, but now what? And
Yeah.
then when we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit more about this topic so we can cause more awareness and we can teach ourselves how to really, truly be there for our kids and for our family when they're having a challenging time without letting them press our buttons to where now we're dysfunctional
We're just
with them.
dysfunctional.
And
we
all
jump
just
right in there with it.
we all just jump into the casket and bury ourselves. Stay tuned for more of the Alex Urbina radio show right here in your hometown station, KHTS.
At iLead Agua Dulce, we believe the most important thing a child can learn in school is who they are. Life's real tests are never standardized, which is why we've developed an individual-based curriculum that values exploration, cooperation, and creativity. As our learners grow, so do we. Our tuition-free charter school is currently enrolling grades TK through 7th and adding 8th grade in 2020. Your young learner will be immersed in a unique environment where possibility and self-discovery are at the core of every experience. The Agua Dulce campus features beautiful indoor and outdoor spaces for hands-on inspiration, including a robotics lab, a garden bed, a greenhouse, and a technology-based exploratorium. iLead Agua Dulce is conveniently located on the east side of the Santa Clarita Valley, just off the 14 freeway. Check out our homeschool options too. To schedule a campus tour or learn more about our programs, visit ileadaguadulce.org. We're enrolling now. iLead Schools. Free to think, inspired to lead.
The minute I open my door,
Debbie Morris has a problem.
I say, oh my gosh,
A really big problem.
the dog, the cat, my 3-year-old.
Debbie's house is a mess.
How can one family create this disaster?
Debbie needs Made for You.
I need help.
Professional residential and commercial cleaning, locally owned. You choose the schedule, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or even one-time seasonal cleaning. Call 255-2922. That's 255-2922. Made for You.
Made for You rescued me.
Marston's Restaurant has been a Pasadena landmark, voted the best breakfast in California by the Food Network magazine. Discover Marston's Santa Clarita location, open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Marston's also has a fantastic catering menu that adds a delicious twist to any event. And they cater picnic dinners for that memorable romantic date. Experience Marston's on Newhall Ranch Road and McBean, or log on to marstonsrestaurant.com.
Hey, we're trying to breathe down here.
Oh, not again. Don't people know that when they dump their used oil improperly, it makes its way to the Santa Clara River? Oh, you should tell them how they can recycle it.
Well, it's simple. Go to greensantaclarita.com to find the oil recycling location nearest you. And take your used motor oil and filters there to be recycled. It's free.
You can even find where to pick up a free oil change kit to make it easier.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Trying.
And welcome back to the Alex Urbina radio show. Today we're talking about angry teens. And if you missed the first segment, you're going to want to go back and listen to that, because we really set up the foundation for how to support you in not being reactive to the anger, how to not take it personal, how to see it in a way, create that kind of perspective that really allows them to be angry, where you see it more as an opportunity to teach them how to manage that anger and those emotions, rather than getting unconsciously pulled into the psychological resistance.
It's like
of
a
them
vacuum.
being like
You
that.
just get sucked right in.
Yeah. Have you ever had somebody that, you tell your friend, like, when this person comes around, let's find, call me so that I don't get pulled into their drama.
Right. Yes.
So imagine your teenager in their trying to figure out how to manage their emotions and they're angry. Imagine them pulling you into their drama and you get sucked right in. You go, there I go.
There I go again.
I let you tag me. And now both of us are in the hole trying to figure
Right.
out how to get ourselves out.
And nothing good is happening.
Yeah, when your job is to not get in the hole with them. Your job is to stay neutral, stay on the outside of the hole so you can actually put your hand down in the hole and pull
lift.
them out. That's your job as
to
a
lift.
parent, is to support them, teach them, be there for them, nurture them. And you can't do that if you're getting reactive and you're getting angry and if they're causing the same dysfunction in you and you're being the same, then you're both little toddlers on the floor throwing temper tantrums. That's not evolved learning, right?
No.
Yeah. So let's go back and we're just going to keep breaking this down. So the should be. Take off your should be glasses. Your son or daughter shouldn't be anything. If they're angry, they're just angry. And you got to learn how to acknowledge that that's how they're feeling. And remind yourself the last time you were angry and you had the right to be angry because that's how you saw it. That's how you felt. So honor your feelings and their feelings for allowing people to have the anger because it's coming up for a reason.
Right.
So
You have to learn how to move through it.
That's right. And so allow yourself to acknowledge that they're angry, put a big smile on your face. And when they look at you, go, what are you smiling at? You get to go, because honey, I know what it's like to be angry. And that's not a good feeling, but I'm honoring that you're angry about something. Do you want to talk about it? And so today's kids probably won't want to talk about it.
Right. At the moment.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then now you got to stop now taking that personal and getting angry because they don't want to talk about it.
It's not like that. Yeah. but I've always found that most of the time they eventually come around. At least my kids. It's like they love to tell me no when I say, want to talk about it? No. But then if you back off and you really give them their space and they're able to calm themselves down just a little bit and they kind of come around and start throwing tidbits out there for you to start talking about it.
Yeah, that's great when that can happen. If they can't, you might have to nudge it a little bit from a more conscious way of learning little tricks and tips of how to get that going. And we could talk about that a little later about some of the tricks to kind of get it developed and get it to circle, like kind of send a little energy so that it does swing back around and come back rather than waiting months or years of them harnessing that anger and you never really kind of followed up with them and made it come back around. So so the next thing is don't take things personal, right? Their anger is not about you. It's might be directed towards you. It might be projected in your way, but it's really a dysfunction that they're dealing with. It's something within them, right? Something that they can't understand. It's their frustration, their resistance to whatever's happening in their life. So it's all a functioning on their side. So you got to free yourself up from not taking it personal. And then the next thing is instead of teaching them how to not be okay with what's happening, your job is to teach them how to process their anger in a healthy way. So imagine your job as a mom or dad is, all right, hands together, rub my hands. I get this opportunity to teach my son or daughter how to deal with their emotions, how to grab their anger. Let's talk about it. Let's process it so that it makes sense so that I can actually let it go and let it run through me, not get stuck in my emotional tank. So imagine our kids have like this propane tank that's inside their body.
Ready to explode.
Well, it's only ready to explode because they have thousands upon hundreds of thousands of emotional baggage that in thousands of moments weren't fully experienced, so they got stuck.
Right.
So the time that you told them no, that anger and that being upset only ran its course 60%. So how much is left in the tank from that processing that?
A lot.
So there's 40% now stuck inside the tank on that. And then the time you gave your word and then said, no, I'm sorry, you didn't complete what I had asked you or what you promised, so we're not going to do that.
There goes another
now
20%.
Yeah, now they're angry at you on that one, and they got mad. Let's say they punched the wall and they got it out 80%, but didn't complete it. Now it's 20% stuck in there. So imagine this emotional tank that has thousands and thousands of emotions that weren't fully completed.
Right.
Like little fragments of unfulfilled emotions, unexpressed emotions that are stuck in that tank. Well, all those little pieces, they add up until the pressure in that tank is ready to, like you said, explode. And so they're exploding and they're getting angry because you made them bacon and their bacon touched their eggs and they're like, I told you I like my food separated and now my bacon's touching my eggs, right? And they're all, and you're like,
it's like
honey,
it just
what's going
all
on?
gets thrown in the bucket.
Yes.
And
yes,
one tiny little thing, everything goes into the bucket and then the bucket spills over.
Yeah, it's like that saying, the straw that broke the camel's back.
It's never about that one thing that you think they just
got
mad at.
It's not the last
Never.
straw.
No.
It's about all the
other straws.
All the other emotions that they haven't learned how to fully experience. Because our kids aren't learning how to experience their experiences. What we're learning to do is have the experience as it's coming up, and then we're deciding we don't like it, and then we stop it or stuff it.
But it doesn't go away.
No, it stays stuck in our context.
Yes.
It stays stuck in our soul, in our energy, in our space. And so we're kind of like we're emotionally stuffed up, and we need an enema. We need a laxative to be able to flush
that was
out.
the exact word.
Yeah, we need a laxative to flush all that out so that I could feel free again, feel lighter.
An emotional enema.
Yeah, and because our kids have a lot of stuffed emotions in us, of course they're going to be angry a lot.
Yeah.
If your son or daughter is angry and moody, there's a lot of emotional baggage that's stuck in their tank that they haven't completed.
They don't know how to complete it.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Most of you listening right now don't even know how. That's why you're at where you're at.
Right.
What you've gotten good at is developing a higher tolerance. And so what you do is you just tolerate more sadness. You tolerate more pain. And you just keep stretching your tolerance for it. A lot of human beings, they just keep pushing through. And when you look back at your life and go, man, I've gone through a lot. Like I've suffered and I've had pain and anger and angst and loss and grief and I just endured. A lot of our lives are about enduring. It's not about feeling and letting go. We don't let things come through us. We let them get stuck in there, and we're wondering why.
We just shove them down.
We wonder why we're stressed. We wonder why we're, suicidal. We wonder why we have all
anxiety.
All of it, cancers, you name it, any kind of diseases, because we let stuff get stuck in our body, all the negative emotions. We don't learn how to open ourselves up like a tube and let it flow through us. And that's what you're teaching your kids if you're not consciously being the teacher to teach them how to let those emotions go through, and you're not creating a safe space for them to let it flush through them. So now let's talk about how do you let it go through them.
Yeah, what does this look like?
What it looks like is discussion. It's therapeutic. And that's probably why people don't like to go to therapists, or a lot of people, will start off coaching with me for a little while, and then they go, man, I got to pay you to come and talk to you about my problems. And a lot of times I will purposely let you vent, right? Because venting is important. Like when you first get with me for an hour session, you're going to vent. I have some people that are professional venters. They'll vent with me for 8 hours if I let them to. So I have to stop them and go, okay, your venting time is up, because now I got to help you process this in a way that we're actually creating a breakthrough. Otherwise, you'll talk for the whole hour, you'll feel better, and you'll pay me, and then you'll go, man, I'm just paying this guy just to talk to him, and you won't see the value. But I got to tell you, talking is so therapeutic for us. Having somebody on the other end that's a great listener, that listens from being neutral. Somebody on the other end that's listening from being compassionate and understanding and vulnerable is such a healing space for us to let it flow through us. And that's valuable. And that's why I do what I do and I charge what I charge, because I know what kind of value I can create for people, whether you see it or not. So that's valuable for you as a parent, is to learn how to be that for your kids. Create this safe space, invite them to share. And if you actually get them to now want to share with you, you just struck gold. And so now what you do is you take your heart out of your chest and you put it on, you pin it to the outside of your shirt, and you sit there and you listen with a compassionate heart. And you nod your head, and you just, as they're talking, you become 150% a committed listener. You do more listening than talking when somebody is frustrated and they're angry and they need to get it out. When they get stuck, now your job is to not give advice, not to tell them what you think they should do, not to try to help them or fix them. Your job now after the listening is to ask open-ended questions. You got to get good at learning.
This is the more challenging. This takes a lot of practice.
It does.
This part.
But you know what? Once you practice, you get really good at it. And there are questions like this. Like, yeah, honey, man, what are you going to do next? I don't know, Mom. I'm still stuck. And then boom, right? And then now I'm listening, and I'm waiting for her to pause or him to pause so I can ask them another question.
What if they ask you why questions? Like, why is it like this? Why do people respond to me like this?
Okay, so now we're transitioning into them beyond the point of them venting. Venting is over now. When they start
venting is over.
They've gone through that process. Whether some of them is 3 minutes, some is 20 minutes, some it's 2 hours, some it's 3 days. But when they come around the corner and they're like, Mom, Grandma, Grandpa, why?
Why?
Now you have to, now you have permission to get in the ditch with them and start coming up with solutions. However, it's a tricky question when they ask you why, because they don't really want you to tell them why.
No.
What they want you to do is help them discover their own why. So what I do is I come in with the feel, felt, found principle. Feel, felt, found is, honey, I know how you feel. I too have felt like that before. And what I found out in that journey was this. So I'm really telling them through a story of my own breakdown or process that I discovered that's similar to theirs, but it's done in a story. So it's like, I remember when I tried out for baseball, or really wanted to be a part of the team, and I didn't get picked. And it wasn't until later on I realized when I got that journey took me into a whole nother area that I absolutely loved and became what my purpose is. I knew now why I didn't get picked for that baseball team. So it's like I'm teaching them and I'm helping them by planting seeds, by telling a story of mine. So I'm teaching indirectly. I'm not teaching them directly, like, let me tell you what you need to do. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So you got to learn how to plant seeds so that the seeds sprout from within them, so they think that they came up with their own solution.
Which is empowering for them.
It's very empowering, and it's not like you're tricking them. All you're doing is sharing some insight that's planted inside of a little coating, and then they have to get the coating, break the nut open, and then boom, the little plant sprouts.
It comes from them.
Yeah. So they are actually, it is coming from them.
Yeah.
You just started it.
Started
and
their,
then they grabbed
their little dialogue.
They grabbed it, and then they ran with it, and then they figured out how to make sense to them and put it into what they're dealing with, and they go, oh, so then maybe I just need to trust that this is happening for a reason, even though I don't have an answer now. Maybe later on it'll come clear to me, and then now your daughter goes, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to trust that, it's not my time, or maybe. And then now, once you kickstarted it by telling your story, now your daughter goes, but you know what? Maybe I wasn't supposed to be playing softball. Maybe this will give me an opportunity for me to go
something else.
Yes. And when now she's on a roll and she's giving you all the stuff, you're just rubbing your hands going, yes, you go, girl. Like, I like those, maybe that's what it is. And then you just get to be in a discovery with them. But as parents, we're always trying to, we act as though we have all the answers for them. Or at least we want to have all the answers for them.
Or we think we're supposed to.
That's right.
Have all those
That's
answers.
That's right. And maybe it's just about you just getting in there and being the space. I call it being the space. It's like I just get to be this inviting, loving, nurturing space that doesn't have to have all the answers, but what an honor it is to be here with you, teaching you how to embrace your anger, by talking about it so that it runs its course, and then getting to the back end on that platform where we could talk about some solutions.
And it's also okay to, when they ask you a question, to be able to say, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. I really don't. I've done that a couple of times, which I felt I was letting myself off the hook a little bit, which felt better, which got me more grounded, which enabled me to, be more neutral. I don't know exactly what it did for them, but I got into a better space when I was able to say, wow, I don't know.
And what's great about not knowing is after you're courageous enough to acknowledge that you don't know, is to come back with, honey, I found out that what I'm finding out is sometimes by not knowing puts me into the question. And sometimes I need to be in the question for a little while. And while I'm in the question, whether it's an hour later, 8 hours later, or tomorrow morning as I'm taking a shower, by being in the question, I go, boom, the answer pops out.
Yeah.
So sometimes the juice is by deciding I don't know.
Right.
And maybe I don't need to know right now. Let's be patient.
Let it just happen.
And in the patience and in the being in the question and operating and living in the question, the answer will come. It'll come through our dreams. It'll come through a moment of maybe watching a movie, or we're eating a sandwich and all of a sudden it pops out. Like, just let's teach our kids how to be okay with being in the question. And as we're in the question, trusting that
then just be open.
The answer will come.
To having it come.
Yeah. And what I've noticed is by me acknowledging that I don't have the answer right now, that one, it's okay. Two, allow myself to be in the question. And sometimes by being in the question, I kind of just go silent sometimes. And in the silence, my spirit, right, or my soul starts to go, here's your answer, is coming. And then it just, boom, and I just get the clarity. But sometimes you can't access the answers from your spirit or your soul if you're up in your head trying to process the heck out of what's happening.
Yeah.
And your spirit...
feeling I have to have an answer.
Yeah.
I have to have an answer.
And your spirit and your soul is waiting for you to slow all that dialogue down, right? It's like shut that ego down, quiet it down so that you can actually
hear what's coming up.
What I've been trying to tell you for a while now. Here it is. So if you silence your mind and stay in the questions, your answers will come, and they'll just pop out. And you go,
silence your mind and stay in the question.
And so one of those was to listen more and talk less. Be that space for your kids to get that out, right? Get their frustration out. Pop a hole in the tank or turn the knob and just let it all out.
Slowly seep out.
And then your job while that's happening is to model healthy emotions. Sometimes as parents, we forget to model.
Yeah. We have this expectation, but we're not doing it ourselves.
Yeah. And you don't realize by the best way of teaching is by virtue of modeling what it looks like. So when they're all angry and you're the opposite, when you're calm and relaxed and poised, and you got this little smirk on your face or smile, that's letting them know, like, I'm good with where you're at.
Yes.
And sometimes that just comes.
That's enough.
Them just seeing you not being reactive or angry or upset, they go, okay, all right, and then they slowly calm down.
They start to breathe
to match your modeling. But
instead
if they're
of us matching their,
that's right.
Yeah.
But if they're angry and upset, and then you go, yeah, I'm angry now and I'm upset. Now you guys are feeding off each other.
Yeah.
Neither one of you can help each other out because now both of you got pulled into the tornado, and now you're
we're being blown to little.
You're destroying homes from miles away. Stay tuned for more of the Alex Urbina radio show right here in your hometown station, KHTS.
Santa Clarita, bedbugs are taking over our city. They've invaded our homes, our businesses, and most importantly, our sleep. If you have suspicious bites that appear nightly, or have a bug that you need ID'd, your best option is to make one call to All Pro. We offer a 100% guarantee that your bedbug issues will be solved with heat in one treatment. No need to tent or spray your house with chemicals. Heat is all you need. Call 661-298-2200 or text me a bug picture to 661-645-0540. It's time to sleep tight again, SCV.
Your hometown station.
It can happen at any time. Breaking news in the Santa Clarita Valley. KHTS has you covered. Brush fires, emergency freeway closures, police activity. If it's happening in the SCV, we'll let you know about it with our breaking news coverage. Keep a channel preset to your hometown station, KHTS.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
La Esmeralda is home to truly authentic Mexican food. This family-owned restaurant prides itself on its fresh-to-order menu. Even the tortillas are made in-house. If you have a taste for sizzling fajitas, flautas, or menudo, you have to try La Esmeralda's Mexican and Seafood Restaurant. Dine in or order out for the most authentic Mexican food Santa Clarita has to offer. Their Taco Tuesdays, it'll turn you into a regular. La Esmeralda on Bouquet at Haskell.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
And welcome back to the Alex Urbina radio show right here in your hometown station, KHTS. I want to thank all the people for tuning in, hanging in there long enough. I know an hour or 45 minutes listening to a podcast or a radio show is a lot. You know, it can...
I think it goes really fast.
Well, for us it does. But for people that are watching, we're so trained. I'll put myself in there. We're so trained to getting information right away. And here's how I know that. Because sometimes I'll need information. I'll go to YouTube and look for a video. And it's the information I'm looking for. But then the guy or the girl's going, all right, I'm going to teach you guys how to do, and I'm like, just get to, like, give me what I need.
You're like
yeah,
moving the cursor.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't want to hear all the other stuff. But so I know how, patient you have to be on the show, especially a radio show or a podcast is 45 minutes. It takes a lot of tolerance and patience on your end to sit and just listen. And you have to absorb this information. This isn't a like give it to me quick fix. This is I have to absorb it, and then some things, and then even after the show later on for the next couple of days, you're still processing what we talked about.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these things that we just went over, this is social conditioning. You've been conditioned to not listen. You've been conditioned to not try to fix it. Everything that we're talking about is you literally have to retrain yourself to undo these things, unbe these things, like impatient and needing to give them the answer and all that. So this is a challenge. This game called Conscious Parenting is a rigorous commitment. And so those of you that are hanging in and listening, and I want to thank you for tuning in and staying tuned in. I know you guys are busy, but you can always go back and listen to the podcast later. We have some great jewels and gems in here. Go back and take some time, whether you're on a long drive or just listen to this and let it sit in.
You have to hear it over and over
absolutely.
Over again.
Even I need to listen over and over again. Yeah. Sometimes listening to some of my shows and we go back, I'm like, man.
It re-energizes the thought process.
And helps you get more clarity.
Yes, it does.
Some of the things
because you hear it differently each time.
Yeah. And so what we've been talking about is teenagers that are angry. And they're really upset, and they get emotional, they get moody. And quite often as parents, we get frustrated because there's a part of us that loves them so much, we want to help them in that moment. And we get pulled into it unconsciously, unaware that our fear kicks in, and we don't end up being the best tool for them. If anything, we frustrate them because they go, why do I bother turning to you? Because you're not what I need you to be.
And I really need you to be that, so now I'm even angrier.
Yeah, and what they need you to be, they don't know yet.
Right.
So I'm trying to explain.
They just know what it feels like when it's right.
When it shows up, they go, yeah, that's it.
Yes, that's it, yeah.
So what they really need from you, mom and dad, is to be patient, to not be reactive, which is proactive. They need you to not take things personal, which is to be neutral. So it needs to be proactive, neutral, and be a loving, safe space that's created for them, and to invite them to come in and open up a dialogue where they can vent out what they're angry about.
Without judgment.
Without judgment, without you letting your fear come in and then throwing a dagger or throwing in maybe if you would have, or any of those.
Yes.
Just get a zipper.
Because they're real smart and they pick up on your energy.
That's right. So get a zipper, zip your mouth, and
open your ears,
open your heart, and listen, and just nod your head. And as they're going, and I can't believe that my best friend who told the secret, and I just trusted her, and I can't believe. And as she's going,
and you're just
nodding your head, and you're just coming from a compassionate place
that they can feel. You don't have to always say something to have them feel something.
Try to remember what it was like when somebody you trusted
betrayed you.
Shared a secret, told someone else, and then what that felt like, so that you can just be that space for them first. So there's little steps after the venting, whether it's 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 12 minutes, an hour, they will come around a corner where they might say, so what do you think I should do? If they say that, boom, you got the golden ticket. If they don't, it's okay to go, you know what, we can pick this up later, or let me think about this. I might have some insight for you. It doesn't all have to happen in one
that
moment.
Right.
Sometimes
better if it doesn't.
That's right. Sometimes winning the game is in quarters, right? First quarter, second quarter, halftime, third quarter, and then the game's over. Sometimes that doesn't look like it's in an hour or even in a day. You can do the first quarter today, second quarter tomorrow, and a third quarter later on at nighttime, and then finish the game right before midnight or whatever. So don't try to rush things. Be patient. Right. Remember, it's your opportunity. When your kids are angry, you have to choose to see it this way. It's an opportunity for me to teach them how to manage their emotions. That's your job as a mom and dad. Sometimes we forget what our job is, or
we think it's something it's not.
We think it's something else because no one has taught us what parenting
looks
like, what it is, what it could be. So we've been making it up since our kids were born. We have been deciding what parenting looks like for them.
And kind of winging it based on our own emotions.
Absolutely, including myself. When I first had my kids, I was just doing the best I could until I had my own awakening and I realized there's different levels to parenting.
Right.
And then I started to learn and discover that the average parent is more of the controlling style parent.
Yes.
You're like the manager. Hey, don't touch that. Don't go over there. So and that's your job, is to not let them hurt themselves. However, when they become 7, 8, 9 years old, it's your job as a parent to shift that controlling style parent, that manager parent, into a different style, which is I call the mentoring parent, the coaching parent, or the inspirational parent. And your job is to now plant seeds and let them come up with their own answers, rather than you telling them what you think they should do or what you think the best advice is. So it's a whole different parenting style.
A complete shift.
And you have to be willing to see the value of that and go, raise your hand and go, I want that. I want to be that for my son or daughter, because I think that's what they need in today's world. Today's teenager is not the same teenager that they were yesterday.
Nope.
Especially not back in the 2000s. They're not in the 90s or the 80s. They're a whole new breed that's going to demand a new style of parenting.
They need us to help them.
That's right. That's all the time we have. Good news is we're here live every Friday at noon. Unless we're out on vacation or doing some amazing things in our own life, please follow us on Facebook, also on Instagram. And thanks for joining us on the Alex Urbina radio show right here in your hometown station.
Thank you.
KHTS.